Welcome back to GenZ News Insider for Episode 5, as we look to celebrate International Women's Day, which took place on Monday. So we're going to be looking at women in business, rise of female founders, as well as the influence women are having in business today. Today, we've got a special co-host guest in presence, Plumb, who's joining us to discuss all things women in business. Welcome, Presence.
Thank you, Dan. I'm really excited to talk about this topic. It's a very interesting one. Personally, I am a student doing economics, and I also have a podcast called Self Action, which is all about interviewing amazing people to learn about how they take action. Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk to Mahek Vera, who is the founder of Love Yum, and also Charlotte Fountaine, who's the founder of Kalda, and this is what they had to say.
So when I set up my charity code camp, we taught over 84,000 young people how to code. So we've got sort of world recognized awards within the industry, from prime ministers, from government officials. So it's been a huge success.
I'm the CPO, the Chief Product Officer at Kalda. Kalda is a mental health app and product, especially for the LGBT community. So we provide daily peer support and weekly group therapy for everyone in the LGBT community.
I think that the world is an oyster at the moment. Well, it always has been, but I think particularly at the moment, especially for female founders, just because there is this increased view on diversity and inclusion.
So I had a lot of support from Antler, and I think if I hadn't had that, I wouldn't have had the network to actually find co-founders to connect with, and I wouldn't have had the network to actually get funding for my startup.
You know, today we can see role models within the industry. So we have Whitney Wolfe Herd, who we can kind of aspire up to look, which maybe 20, 30 years ago, there wasn't anyone.
So I'm part of a community online called Elpha, ELPHA, and that's got loads of female founders. I've reached out to other women on Twitter, and they've always been really receptive and kind of wanted to give me support and boost me up.
Make sure you take breaks for yourself, because I've been burnt out before, and I feel like mental health isn't spoken about as much, especially in the startup industry.
I think it's about taking breaks. It's about not giving into this startup culture of having to work all the time and working at the weekends and the startup being the only thing you're doing in your whole life.
I think that with every turn of the economic cycle, we're seeing more and more women coming into the industry as strong leaders.
And you can see there's more women in leadership positions than there were then. More entrepreneurship and more women in business, I think.
I think that society itself today is a heck of a lot better than it was many years ago in terms of women in business.
Two very inspiring young females who are doing great things. I want to start off actually by discussing what Mahek said in terms of the world being an oyster now more than ever.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think now there's so much support. For example, women in tech, there's always a lot of different events going on. Women in finance, there's just so much more support and encouragement for women and also people who have different colour.
I also want to touch on the really important topic of mental health for founders, because both Charlotte and Mahek made really good points about how important it is to take breaks for startup life, not to overwhelm you and not to dominate your life.
I guess there's two types of entrepreneurs, the one that hustles day in, day out, and the one that really balances it. Following what's right for you. Fun thing about entrepreneurship is there's no right way of doing it. So if you're someone who would do anything it takes and just is willing to work 24/7, then do it. But if you're someone who wants to take breaks and who knows that it's going to help them, then do it.
Now we're going to be looking at women in the workplace in terms of the leadership roles, the support, and how company culture is changing. I recently spoke to a young leader by the name of Alina, who's a senior manager at KPMG. And here's what Alina had to say.
My main challenge was being a fit from the culture perspective, but also being a fit into the industry perspective. There are some organizations like KPMG, they have internal programs. For example, we have one called Raise You, and this is targeted at women across different areas. I think at the moment, our program is very much targeted at high performance, high achievers. I think it could be broader than that, right? Because for a lady to become a high performer, high achiever, there is still work to be done early in the stage. I do think that there is a lot of hunting for women in technology at the moment specifically. And technology may be broader than just financial services. It can cover, anything like Forbes, non-FS, national markets, etc. So that's perhaps one of the areas which is definitely growing. And so there there is a good one, which I personally find quite good. So it's called We Are the City. And We Are the City, they are targeted at women. They are targeted at women in tech. And they do a number of talks, events, and also conferences where you can, in the normal world, go and meet all these women who are successful in business and broader than technology. I think number one is be confident, and I know it's easy to say, but it is very important. I think number two, and the thing which really helped me grow very, very fast, it's asking for feedback. Number three, it's just don't be afraid, to try to meet different people or to try different business and to fail, because the more you fail, the more it's a learning curve and the stronger you'll come out of it.
Really valuable advice there from Alina. One of the things that Alina touched on was programs that KPMG and I know other companies are running out. What are you seeing and what would you like to see in the workplace today to support women in achieving, to being able to make impact and to achieve what they want to achieve?
So I feel like if there are programs to really develop more soft skills in women and help them maybe negotiate, we're talking, negotiating, public speaking, confidence, feeling okay to just be direct and say what they want to say.
Do you think networking is a really key component for personal development for young women in business?
Creating a safe environment for girls who might be more shy or introverted to network and realize that they also can be in these positions even if they think that I'm introvert, I don't think I can.
What are you seeing amongst young females and females in general in technology?
There is this kind of feeling, if you're a woman, then you should definitely go into tech. The concept of FOMO, fear of missing out, can be real for some people.
What other areas do you see growing?
Marketing is a really big one, branding, and then branding then links to design. How do you have a really good, attractive design? And then the design links to psychology. In the economics field, it's like banking, data science. There's just a lot.
To conclude in what we've heard and discussed today, I think it's really positive. And for me, we're going to continue to see more entrepreneurs, more women in leadership positions, provided that there's the right support at the junior end, which we discussed.
More women are being empowered to do what they want to do. And I just know that in the future, it's going to be normal now. No more just the whole idea of women in this, women in that, women in banking. It's just going to be both genders, people in banking. There's no more needing to intentionally encourage women in this and that. Overall, it's just realizing that we're human, we're the same. We are also ambitious and want to be leaders and founders, and we can do that.
Thanks for joining us today, Presence, as a special co-host guest. Hope everyone found the information useful. We'll be back again in 2 weeks where we'll be looking at the value of apprenticeships. Until next time, we'll see you then.